Jeff and his wife Edna went to the state fair every year and every year, and every year Jeff would say, "Edna, I'd like to ride in that helicopter." Edna always replied, "I know, Jeff, but that helicopter ride is $50 and $50 is $50. One year, Jeff and Edna went to the state fair, and Jeff said, "Edna, I'm 85 years old. If I don't ride that helicopter, I may never get another chance to this." Edna replied, "Jeff, that helicopter ride is $50 and $50. It's $50. The pilot overheard the couple and said, "Folks, I'll make you a deal. I'll take the both of you for a ride. If you can both stay quiet and don't say a word, I won't charge you guys a penny. But if you say one word, it's $50. Jeff and Edna agreed, and up they went. The pilot did all kinds of fancy maneuvers, but not a word was heard. He did these daredevil tricks over and over again, but to still nothing. When they landed, the pilot turned to Jeff and said, "My God, I did everything I could to get you to yell out, but you didn't? I'm impressed." Jeff replied, "Well, to tell you the truth, I almost did when Edna fell out, but you know $50 is $50. A newly married couple came home from the honeymoon and moved into the upstairs apartment they had rented from the groom's parents. That night, the mother of the groom awakened her husband from his sleep. "Tony, listen," she whispered. Upstairs, the bed was creaking in rhythm. The wife said, "Come on, Tony, let's make love." So, Tony climbed on top of his wife and did the job. As he was trying to fall back asleep 15 minutes later, the bed upstairs started creaking in rhythm again. "Come on, Tony," said the wife. "Let's make love again." Once again, Tony climbed on top of his wife and made love as hard as he could. As he was trying to fall back asleep 15 minutes later, the bed upstairs started creaking in rhythm again. "Come on, Tony," said the wife. "Let's do it again." So, Tony grabbed the broom and pounded on the ceiling as he shouted, "Hey kids, cut it out! You're killing your old man down here." An Englishman, a German, and a Frenchman are all in Saudi Arabia sharing a smuggled crate of booze when, all of a sudden, Saudi police rush in and arrest them. The mere possession of alcohol is a severe offense in Saudi Arabia, so for the terrible crime of actually being caught consuming the booze, they are all sentenced to death. However, after many months, and with the help of very good lawyers, they were able to successfully appeal their sentences down to life imprisonment. By a stroke of luck, it was a Saudi national holiday the day their trial finished, and the extremely benevolent sheikh decided they could be released after receiving just 20 lashes each of the whip. As they were preparing for their punishment, the sheikh announced, "It's my first wife's birthday today, and she has asked me to allow each of you one wish before your whipping." The German was first in line. He thought for a while and then said, "Please tie a pillow to my back." This was done, but the pillow only lasted 10 lashes before the whip went through. When the punishment was done, the German had to be carried away, bleeding and crying with pain. The Frenchman was next up. After watching the German in horror, he said smugly, "Please fix 2 pillows to my back." But even 2 pillows could only take 15 lashes before the whip went through again, and the Frenchman was soon led away, whimpering loudly. The Englishman was the last one up, but before he could say anything, the sheikh turned to him and said, "You are from a most beautiful part of the world, and your culture is one of the finest in the world. For this, you may have 2 wishes." "Thank you, your most royal and merciful highness," the Englishman replied. "In recognition of your kindness, my first wish is that you give me not 20, but 100 lashes. Not only are you an honorable, handsome, and powerful man, you are also very brave," the sheikh said with an admiring look on his face. "If 100 lashes is what you desire, then so be it. And your second wish, what is it to be?" the sheikh asked. The Englishman smiled and said, "Tie the Frenchman to my back." So one day, a group of armed militia took over a small village in Africa, and being the evil, sadistic armed militia they were, they decided to force every adult in the village to play a game. The militia made every adult woman in the village put on blindfolds and made every adult man line up side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and drop their pants. At this point, the armed militia announced that if a woman could correctly identify her husband by his junk, that couple would be allowed to live and be set free. But if a woman guessed wrong, the militia would dispose of both that woman and her husband. The game begins. The first blindfolded woman starts going down the line of men. Not mine, not mine, not mine, husband. And she was correct. So being the ethical armed militia they were, the husband and wife were also set free. The second woman starts going down the line. Not mine, not mine, not mine. I found my husband. And she was right as well. So those two were set free. At this point, the militiamen were growing a bit bored with their game, and so a couple of them decided they themselves would drop their pants and mix into the middle of the line with the rest of the village men. The game resumes. It's the third woman's turn. She starts going down the line of men and says, "Not mine, not mine, not from this village, not mine. I found my husband." Poor Fred was 32 years old and still very much single. Every time he met the woman of his dreams and took her home to meet his parents, for one reason or another, his mother didn't like her. One day a friend asked, "Why haven't you got a girlfriend? Can't you find a sexy woman who will be a good wife?" Fred replied, "Actually, I've dated many women I wanted to marry, but when I bring them home to meet my parents, my mother doesn't like them." His friend thought for a moment and said, "I've got the perfect solution. Find a girl who is just like your mother." A few months later, they met again, and his friend said, "Did you manage to find the perfect girl? Did your mother like her?" With a frown on his face, Fred answered, "Yes, I found the perfect girl. She was just like my mother. You were right. My mother liked her very much." The friend said, "That's awesome. So why the frown?" Fred replied glumly, "My father can't stand her." A 92-year-old man is walking through a park and sees a talking frog. He picks up the frog, and the frog says, "If you kiss me, I will turn into a beautiful princess and be yours for a week." The old man puts the frog in his pocket. The frog screams, "Hey, if you kiss me, I will turn into a beautiful princess and make love to you for a whole month." The old man looks at the frog and says, "At my age, I'd rather have a talking frog." My friends, if you want to watch other funny jokes, subscribe to the channel.